Hello everyone, Amanda here. Thank you so much for joining me. So today I'm going to show you how to make this luxury Christmas card. It's really rather lovely and it's very easy to make. So I've decorated it front and back using my own papers. This is traditional Christmas. I'll leave a link in the description box. Okay, and then we open up and we've got this beautiful pop-up style book fold. A very simple design. It's not my original design, it's old as the hills. I've just adapted it to show off these beautiful papers and show you a quick and easy card design. It's 5x7, it will fold up nicely and you can post that. Okay, so let's get crafting. I'm going to be making this card using a trimmer today that has the measurements down the track as well as along the top. If you don't have this tool, you can follow the tutorial, take note of the measurements, draw everything with a pencil, and you can cut it with a blade and a cutting mat. Okay, there's always ways to do everything. So you need two pieces in the first instance that measure 10x7. That will get you a 5x7 fold. So one of them put straight in the trimmer and score at 5 inches, which is the halfway mark. Okay, fold that and bob it to one side. Then you get the second one and we're going to turn it on the short side. So that is the 7-inch side. We're going to put it in at 1 inch. Now you can either go from this 1 inch or that 1 inch. Okay, I'm going to go from the far side. 1 inch, and then we're going to bring our blade up and we're going to go to 1 inch. Okay, so line the arrow up there with your 1 inch, pop it in, press your blade and come down and stop at 9. To make life easier on the measurements, just turn it and do the same. So go into the 1 inch mark, bring your blade to the 1 inch mark on your cutter. Okay, then press it down. Always hold the bar down with your thumb and slide all the way down to 9 and then stop. And that is the only cutting you need to do. So now we're going to do some scoring. So your first score from the left hand side. Okay, let me just move some things out of the way. We're going to score down here 1 inch. Okay, but we're only scoring between that cut mark and that cut mark. Okay, so again you can go in with your scoring tool, you can find the 1 inch mark, okay, and you can score. Like I say, you can do all this manually on a cutting mat. Okay, it's not a problem. Then we're going to go to 1.5 inches. This is, move it up 1/2 inch. And the same again, we're going from the 1 inch mark. Okay, just take your time. 1 inch mark down to the 6 inch mark. Okay. And then we're going to go over to 3.5. And we're just going to score this top piece here. Okay, and the bottom piece here. So score from the top down to 1 inch or where your cut starts. Okay, and then come down and go from 6 or where the cut is down to the bottom. Okay, I don't know if that's actually scored very deeply. I'm just going to do that again because I want to be able to see it. Okay, then we're going to come across to the 5 inch mark. Okay, and on the 5 inch mark we're just going to score all the way top to bottom. Now press your track down so that it holds these cut strips. Okay, all the way down to the bottom. I'm pressing on that firmly. Okay, then we're going to go across to 6.5, and again we're just scoring these 2 top strips. So go to the top and score down to 1 inch. Okay, and then come to the bottom from 6 inch and score it down to the bottom. Then we're going to go across to 8.5. And we're going to score between these 2 cut points. Okay, so not the top and not the bottom, just between the 2 cut points. So we're starting at 1 inches again, or the cut point, and we're scoring down to the 6 inch mark again. Okay. Then we're going to come across to 9, and we're going to do the same, scoring between those 2 cut marks. So 1 inch down to 6 inches. I'm using lightweight cardstock here because we're going to be doing lots of layers. So this is 200 GSM lightweight cardstock. Okay. Right, so let me just reposition myself because I was stood up. So the first thing you need to do is just turn this piece towards yourself and do this. You've got 2 score lines here. So the first one, fold towards yourself, okay, and you can score it from the back. And then the next one, fold away from yourself, okay. And then come around to the other side, put your hands in there, that first score mark, fold towards yourself and push from the back. The second one there, you're going to push away from yourself. Is that right? Yeah. Away from yourself and then towards yourself. I beg your pardon. You know what I mean. So you've got one going like that and one going like that. Then the middle one, you need to pull in on yourself. Pull in on itself, not yourself. Right, so then these top parts here. All right, so this middle one comes towards you. Okay, and the score marks either side get folded in. Okay, so that it folds like so. Come round here, that one comes in towards you, that one goes into the back, and that one goes into the back. Where's that score mark? So I just went and did that score. So make sure you do a score both the strips. So that one's going in, that one's coming up, and that one's going down. Okay, so then what you can do is you can just fold that back like so. Okay, and everything should just all fold in like so. Okay, fold it down, pop those in. Okay, and you've got that kind of a shape. Right, so you want to make sure you've got it all lined up before you start burnishing, in case you've not got anything straight. And you'll know it's lined up because it'll be all lined up here and here and here. So when you're confident you've got it lined up right, then give it a really good squeeze from the back. Always do it from the back because we're working with white card. I don't like working with white card because I find it's so easy to get it grubber, but I thought it looked nice. So I can see that all of that's lined up, okay, and so that's going to go nicely into my card base. If it's not all nicely lined up, have a look, make sure you've done all your scoring correctly, make sure you've burnished right. Okay, because if this is not lined up, it won't sit in your card base nicely. Okay, then you can bring your card base in, and we are gluing here. Doesn't matter which way up you do it at this point. So you need to glue this like backwards letter C. Okay, so we're putting glue. Do it while it's folded up. It's just make your life a little bit easier. Okay, so we're gluing here. We're gluing all the way down here. You want plenty of glue, but if you kind of do it central or a very thin layer, then it won't all splodge out, okay? And notwithstanding, you don't want to saturate that cardstock. Okay, so now you're going to turn that. So now it's like an N. Put it towards you, okay? And you need to line these corners up. Don't worry about the rest. Just get your corners lined up. Just forget the rest of the card exists. And make sure that you've got that card laid right over the top of the bottom one. That it's flush there and it's flush there. Okay? Right over top. So make sure you use a glue where you've got some wiggle room. Okay? Then when you've got that where you want it and you've got it right, go in with a burnishing tool. Now, what I suggest you do is, if you lift that bit up and press that part down, it will collapse. Hold that firmly whilst you burnish. That will stop your cardstock from shifting, you know, because you've got glue, you don't want it moving. And then just hold it there, lift that up, go underneath with your bone folder and give it a really good burnish. take your time. Okay, and then you can fold that back, give it an extra burnish, because you can never burnish anything too much. So now you've got a U. So we're putting glue on here again, all the way down, all the way across. Again, less is more with glue. Make sure you've got plenty on, but not heaps where it's going to saturate your card and make your card warp, because we don't want that. I'm using the Nouveau Deluxe adhesive. It doesn't seem to warp my card. I quite like it. Okay, so then you should, in essence, should be able to just fold that over, okay, and it will meet up. But I don't like to take chances, so I'm going to actually lift it up and I'm going to join those corners, and I'm going to make sure that that's perfect. Okay, right, so once that edge is flush, check that these are flush before you commit. Okay, turn it over and make sure you can't see it peeking over the edge. It will just give you a nicer finish. Doesn't matter if it's not perfect, but you know, if it's a luxury card, you want to take your time over it. Okay, so I'm confident that that is flush with the bottom layer. So again, I'm going to fold that flat and put pressure on so that none of this shifts whilst I'm burnishing. Okay, and then I would leave that to dry. Even leave it under something heavy if you want, and leave it to dry. I haven't got time, so I'm going to keep going. If you just leave it to dry before you start putting your paper layers on, it just reduces the chance of the card warping, okay, because of all of the layers of glue. You can, of course, use tape, but if you want wiggle room, because you don't always get things straight, you need tape. So now I'm going to go through the matting layers. Now I have pre-done mine to save time, but I'm going to give you all the measurements. Okay, so for the matting and layering, I have sped it up. So I'm going to give you the measurements verbally, so write them down. Okay, so for the front and back, the gold card layer measures 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. And the paper layer measures 4.5 by 6.5. Both of them are exactly the same. Okay, exactly the same. I've sped it up a little bit so that the video is not as long, but I'm going to give you all of the measurements. Just make note of them, write them down. You can pause the video, rewind it. Most of the measurements I have put on the screen, but on this part, because I've sped it up, I can't, otherwise they'll literally be there for a second and then they'll be gone. So listen out for these measurements for the matting and layering, and just take your time. Okay, all we're doing is cutting everything 1/4 inch shorter on the width and the height than the space we want to cover. So these internal panels both cut the same size. The gold card is 4 3/4 by 3 1/4, and then the paper layer is 4.5 by 3. Okay, you can obviously omit the gold card if you want, and just use the paper layer, in which case you're just using the larger size. Okay, so you can kind of pull that over and fold that book fold part kind of flat to help you lay that matting down. So just pull it over to the side and collapse it, as you can see me doing here, and then add your matting layer. Burnish it nicely so that nothing comes undone and it's all nicely adhered, and all of that glue is touching all of that white cardstock. Now I've not matted that section there that I'm indicating, because I like how it makes the book fold part look like it's floating. Okay, it distinguishes it better. So we're not matting that bit. So these long strips here, you're cutting 2 exactly the same, and all of the gold strips are all the same width, 3/4 inch wide. So that gold piece there measures 6 3/4 in the length and 3/4 inch in the width. And then the paper layer measures 6.5 by 1/2 inch. All of those paper strips are all 1/2 inch wide. So you can cut yourself some gold card strips at 3/4 inch and your paper strips at 1/2 inch, and then just cut them to the length that you need. Okay, so you're not having to cut every single one every single time. Okay, make sure you've got a nice 1/8 inch increment all the way around, and it will just look lovely. So these pieces, the gold card measures 2 3/8 of an inch by 3/4 of an inch, and the paper layer measures 2 1/8 by 1/2 an inch, and you want 4 of them exactly the same, and all 4 of those go right next to the tall strips that go from top to bottom. Super simple, doesn't get any easier. Okay, and you are more than welcome to use any of my measurements. I don't mind, I share to inspire others. I'm not about gatekeeping the measurements. You can use them. I don't need any credit or any applause. I just hope that I can inspire you today to make yourself a pretty card. So this final piece, you want 4 of them the same. The gold card measures 1 1/4 by 3/4 of an inch, and the paper layer measures 1 inch by 1/2 an inch, and that is all of your measurements complete. What a beautiful card. Doesn't get any easier. So then you can just fold and it will close beautifully, and there you have your lovely book fold. The only difference to my original is I fussy cut one of these little labels out of my kit. I backed it on foil card and I stuck it on. And when you are sticking things onto here, just remember the constraints of where it closes. So if you're going to stick something that protrudes, what I suggest you do is flatten this bit down. Okay, flatten it down, and you will see how far you can go so that it doesn't come out to the edge of the card. So there's another tip for you. And that is a beautiful card. If that wilts on somebody's mantelpiece and buckles and fails, I would be shocked, because we've got an awful lot of layer in there. That is a beautiful luxury Christmas card. I hope you have fun making it. Thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.